Friends, I have a somewhat surprising admission to make for someone of my age and ilk, and that is that I have never used drugs. But my friend Lucy didn't know this when she asked if I might be able to help her buy drugs. Now, when you have never used drugs before, you are probably the last person who should be buying drugs for somebody, right? Now, Lucy was new to town, and as such, she didn't know many people, which is why she asked me. And there's something else that you should know about Lucy, and that is that we work in sort of the same field, and she's like my professional crush, right? And so, as such, I wanted to impress her with my ability to buy drugs. And so I obviously I know nothing about this, but I have watched The Wire. And so I know that maybe the first thing you need to know if you're gonna buy someone some drugs is like, how much do they need? So real cool, I was like, oh yeah, like, I can get you some, like, how much? And she's like, I just need an eighth. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck does an eighth mean? Is that like an eighth of a pound? Is that like an eighth of a kilo? Am I gonna get like a shoebox full of weed for her? Like, I have no idea. But it turns out that like that was the least of my problems, knowing what an eighth was, because the real problem was that I know approximately 0 drug dealers. But I didn't let that stand in my way of getting her some drugs. So I call my brother because he's sketchy, and I know that he will know who I should talk to. And of course, without skipping a beat, he tells me that I should talk to Jenny. Now, he doesn't have Jenny's number because he and Jenny once slept together, and now she hates him, and like they have no way of being in touch. So I'm kind of ass out at this point, but then I'm like, oh, Jenny and I are virtual friends. And so I will send her a message on Facebook. And so the message went a little something like this. This is a direct message, okay? Don't think I put it on her wall or anything. And so I said, hey, Jenny, what's up? There was no in that, though, in the writing of it. I said, I'm looking for some herbal enjoyment. Maybe you can help me out. And she writes back, hey, yeah, I think I could help you out. Call or text, preferable to Facebook. And I mean, there was no like smiley face emoticon or like winky face emoji or whatever. It was just like, like apparently drug dealers don't like to be contacted through the computer. So I sent her a text as instructed, and we set up a time to meet. And on my way over there, I was walking over, and I was like so sweaty and nervous. And I was like, oh my God, like I have no idea what to expect. Like, what is a drug deal like? I have no idea. What does a drug dealer's house look like? I don't know what to expect. It turns out it's like every other row house in Columbia Heights. It's like not like a crack house or something. And so I get up to her house and I knock on the door, and she opens the door, and I come in, and she invites me to sit down on her couch, and immediately her cat jumps in my lap, and so I start petting the cat, and then she's like, so, you like cats? And I was like, yeah, I mean, cats are okay, I guess, but like I'm more like a dog person. And she's like, yeah, this cat's like way more like a dog. And I'm like, why do all cat owners say that? Right? Like, why do you have to justify your cat? Anyway, right? So this like cat convo goes on for like another 20 minutes, but I cannot focus because all I'm thinking about are like, where are the drugs? Right? Like, does she have them hidden in the walls, or is it like behind the drywall or something in like bricks, or does she have some sort of secret bagging operation in the basement? Like, I have no idea. And I'm getting antsy, and I need to get back to work because this is like obviously on a weekday. And so I say, hey, it's kind of got to go back to work. And she's like, oh yeah, there you go. And she points to this tiny box on a coffee table, and it's like this, like a Godiva truffle box, like the thing kind of you get at the mall or something, like maybe the size of a jewelry box, and it had a bow on it. And I was like, this is not the drugs, because drugs come in Ziploc baggies. Like, I know that, because remember I watched The Wire. So I know what drugs look like. And she saw me like looking askance at this box and was like, I figured you wouldn't want a bag of drugs. And I was like, too right, Jenny. You are correct. I do not want to be carrying around this bag of drugs. So then comes time for the transactional part of our meeting. And I pull out my wallet and I realize, holy shit, I have no cash. Like, who carries cash around, right? I pay for everything with a debit card. But like, drug dealers don't take Visa, so I had to go to a plan B, but luckily I'm the only person under the age of 40 who carries a checkbook regularly. You guys don't? That's weird. So I pull out my checkbook and I write her a $60 check. And in the memo, I just write drugs. That's accurate. That was correct. And I tear it off and I give it to Jenny. Here's your payment, madam. And she looks at me like I am the biggest dum-dum on the planet, because at that moment I was most certainly the biggest dum-dum on the planet, because like I didn't know drug dealers wouldn't take a check, but probably like nobody takes checks anymore, I guess. Anyway, so I put the little truffle box of drugs in my bag and I go to walk home, and I'm freaking out the entire time. Like, I am paranoid that I'm gonna get popped by the cops because I have drugs on me. But here's the thing, like, I don't look like a drug dealer or somebody who'd be carrying a lot of drugs. I just look like a lesbian in my mid-30s. So not that suspicious. And a couple of days, maybe it's suspicious, I don't know. So a couple of days later, I give my friend Lucy the drugs, and I don't tell her the procurement story because I now have some like serious street cred, right? And I do not want to ruin that. But here's the thing, when you try to impress people, you just like look like an asshole, right? People are either gonna like you or they're not. But they're gonna like you probably a little more if you can score them some weed. Thanks.